Hello, and welcome to the Natural PCOS podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering women with polycystic ovarian syndrome through natural approaches. I'm your host, Dr. Samina Mitha, a naturopathic doctor with a passion for women's health and hormones. Each episode, I'll explore the latest insights and my personal experience to help you manage your PCOS naturally. Together, we'll dive into practical tips, inspiring stories, and the latest research to support your journey towards balance and wellness. Let's get started on your path to thriving with PCOS naturally. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Natural PCOS podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Samina Mitha. I'm a naturopathic doctor who helps women with PCOS and also other women who have hormonal conditions like endometriosis, thyroid issues, fertility. But today, what we're really focusing on and talking about is exercise for PCOS. And we're going to use this framework called the FIT framework. It's frequency, intensity, time, and type to really build out an exercise routine for PCOS. Many women out there with PCOS wonder how much exercise is actually enough or whether they're actually doing the right type of exercise. So today I'm going to break it all down for you. First of all, why exercise matters for PCOS. One of the big things we need to focus all of our attention on is the fact that exercise really improves insulin sensitivity. And that helps to regulate blood sugar, which is oftentimes the pinnacle, the cause in terms of PCOS. Exercise, obviously, it really helps support our hormones, balancing our hormones, and can help reduce androgen levels or testosterone. It helps with weight management and really helps to focus on supporting our metabolic health, increasing our metabolism and supporting that whole function of our body when it comes to PCOS, which is related to insulin resistance. And as you probably already know, exercise really improves mood, reduces anxiety and depression, and it really helps with sleep and stress, which is a really big part of the case as well when it comes to PCOS. The other thing that exercise really does for women with PCOS is it can really help to regulate cycles and improve ovulation. This is extremely important, especially if we want to balance the hormones out, we're trying to conceive, even just feeling better. Obviously, getting a period is super important, and you just feel better when your cycles are more regular. What's really interesting and that you have to learn and understand is there's two big ways to improve insulin sensitivity, which basically means that the cell is more sensitive to insulin. And when that happens, the glucose can get inside the cell where it needs to be. It doesn't stay outside in the bloodstream. And then that's where we see high blood sugar. We need to get that insulin working. We need to get the cell responding to insulin. There's two big ways that I've learned that you can do this. And a lot of this comes from a naturopathic doctor, Dr. Igor Kilbanov, and he's a naturopath who focuses on exercise. There's two big ways to really improve insulin sensitivity. One is we need to get rid of the sugar inside the muscle cells to allow for more glucose storage. And in order to do that, we can do that through cardio and strength training. In order to increase this, it's really important to focus on both. The second way to really improve insulin sensitivity is to increase the storage capacity of a muscle. As we know, muscles right now can hold about 350 grams of sugar. But if you grow the muscle, the storage capacity increases, which is incredibly important when it comes to insulin resistance. So the only way to grow a muscle is by strength training, not by cardio. So that's really important to understand and know. So now we kind of have an idea of what we need to achieve and what type of exercise we can use to achieve it. But I'm going to break it down for you in terms of this FIT model. So the first letter is F, which is basically frequency. How often should you be exercising? Generally, someone will say, we need to be exercising 3 to 5 times a week to get the maximum decrease in HbA1c. This is a marker in blood work that tells us about diabetes, we should be aiming for at least 3 times a week. For PCOS, consistency really matters more than it actually being a perfect exercise. We want to also make sure that we're moving on a daily basis. So that's really important when you're thinking about how often should you exercise. Please aim for about 3 times. In terms of intensity, this is how hard you're actually working when you're doing the exercise. Typically, moderate intensity exercise is really good for PCOS. Brisk walking, light weights, yoga. This is really good to balance stress and insulin. We see in the research that high intensity interval training is actually really beneficial and can help insulin resistance and our metabolic health. Sometimes it can maybe worsen stress, but honestly, high intensity interval training has been really studied and it can really, really help women with PCOS. However, if the intensity is too high, you're feeling really tired after the workout, it's really impacting your stress, maybe you just have to lower the intensity a little bit. You want to do this test. It's a talk test. You should be able to talk and actually do the exercise at the same time. If you're not able to talk, have a conversation, maybe that intensity is too high for you. So let's talk about the sets. So if say we're doing strength training, we want to aim for about 2 to 4 sets, about 15 to 20 reps. That means basically if we're doing squats, we're doing 15 squats and we're doing 3 sets of that. So if we're doing squats, lunges, deadlifts, we're doing 15 of each, and then we're cycling back and doing, that's 1 set, we're doing 3 sets. This is where we get the most glycogen depletion when we do 15 to 20 reps of an exercise. This basically means that we're going to increase that glucose storage. When you finish the workout, you want to think about this in terms of intensity. Am I going up at the maximum intensity that I should be in order to gain muscle and actually make a difference? You should probably think of it as I could have done maybe 1 to 3 more reps of that's at the very end of the exercise. That's a good intensity. If you think you could have done 5 or more, maybe the intensity is too low and you can maybe increase the weights because the weights that you're using might be too light in that circumstance. So I hope that gives you an idea of intensity. Now, in terms of time, you want to aim for about 30 to 60 minutes in the exercise that you're doing in that session. And, people will say, like, I don't have enough time. Or I feel like, honestly, to be very honest with you, 30 to 60 minutes seems like very long in my head to be moving my body. Sounds crazy because I used to go to the gym and do this all the time. But even a 10 to 20 minute exercise can make a big difference if you're consistent with it and the quality is good. You're actually moving your body correctly and the quality of the workout is good instead of the actual quantity. So just keep that in mind. Ideally, what we say is we really want to aim for 150 minutes of exercise in a week. Okay? So that will probably get you about, 3 times a week, about 30-minute sessions, and then walking in between. So in terms of the type of exercise, so we went through frequency, intensity, time, and now type. I think this is the biggest question most people have. What type of exercise is the best for PCOS? Before we go into what is actually true and what makes sense in terms of the research in our body and all the science behind it, what I want to say is, yes, there is this framework of what's the best type of exercise for PCOS. But what I want to say is it's more important to just move your body to an exercise that you really like versus picking the exercise that's the best in terms of science. Now, you might have some goals in mind, so you might want to adjust that based on your goals. But if you really, really don't like yoga and you're forcing yourself to do it, in any case, we want to do the exercise that's the best for you, okay, and that you actually enjoy doing. If you think about what's the best type of exercise for PCOS, based on everything I just told you, strength training is probably the number 1 exercise for PCOS. It builds muscle, it boosts metabolism, and improves insulin sensitivity. It gets your heart rate up, it lowers your stress, your anxiety, and it can really help boost serotonin, your happy hormone. So if you think about all the different strength training exercises, one of the best exercises is a deadlift. It's probably the best exercise for PCOS because it's working the most amount of muscle groups. The glutes, the hamstrings, the lower back. You're probably missing a few other muscles in there like your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your abs. So you might want to sprinkle in a few other exercises, maybe 1 or 2 exercises in those categories. Do 2 to 4 sets and 15 to 20 reps of that exercise. Now, you've done your strength training. If you have some extra time, do some cardio. It really supports your heart. And again, it supports that insulin sensitivity. Yoga and Pilates is really great, especially if you have a lot of stress. You want to improve flexibility, and it can really, really help with anxiety. Walking is probably, super underrated. It's highly, highly effective, especially after meals. If you can go for a 10-minute walk after meals, it can really help balance blood sugar. There's different studies out there that'll say walking after meal is best versus walking 30 minutes a day. And other studies will say actually walking 30 minutes a day is actually good too. At the end of the day, just walk. Whenever you have a chance to walk, go and walk and move your body. That pumping action, I don't know if you ever feel this, but I feel like a tingling sensation in my leg muscles when I come from a walk. And that really means that your muscles are actually contracting and working and getting that glucose out so that more glucose can come in. What you want to focus in on is mixing up your exercise to really avoid burnout. Maybe some walking, some yoga, some strength training. See how your body feels and adjust accordingly. So I hope that was helpful in terms of telling you a little bit about this framework of PCOS and exercise in terms of the FIT framework. What I do want to tell you some practical tips when it comes to exercise and PCOS. Start small, start like 10 to 15 minutes a day. Pair the exercise with something enjoyable like a podcast or music or a TV show, maybe with a friend. Track your progress in a journal or an app. This can really be helpful to get you motivated. And really, if you have concerns of I don't have enough time, start with a shorter amount of exercise. If you don't like the gym, try buying some weights and using them at home. Go for walks, doing dancing, all these things can really help. If you're scared of overdoing it, just really listen to your body. How does your body feel after the workout and during the workout, and adjust the intensity as you need it. So I really hope that this gives you an idea of what you should do in terms of exercise. Exercise is probably the most powerful way to support your PCOS after dietary changes. So I really encourage you to use this framework, frequency, intensity, time, and type, to really figure out what exercise regimen would be best for you and your body. Hope this was helpful. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Natural PCOS podcast. I hope you found today's episode insightful and empowering. Remember, managing PCOS is a journey, and you're not alone. For resources, tips, and to connect with our community, visit my website at saminamitha.com. You can also find me on Instagram at dr.saminamitha.nd. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps me to reach more women seeking support for PCOS. Until next time, take care and stay well.